UFC, what a year it has been for organized violence in an octagon. We have our last numbered event of the year, and it comes with two absolute banger title fights on it. And not our last event, we do have one more event next week. And that is the last time we are going to see organized violence in an octagon until January 27th, where the UFC will return on Paramount Plus. Can we get a round of applause in the comments? No more pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be rich again. Y'all know what we're going to do. We have our UFC 323 predictions. We're going to start with our question of the week, and we're going to be predicting every fight from the early prelims all the way to the main event of the evening, starting with our question of the week. Who is your UFC Mount Rushmore? Now, Mount Rushmore doesn't mean you have to be some immaculate, legendary, if you're on the Mount Rushmore, you're probably going to be a legendary fighter. It's just Mount Rushmore is different from the GOAT conversation, right? Mount Rushmore is people who have come out here and changed the game, changed the UFC for the better. And that is why I am starting with the legend, Ronda Rousey. I don't care how her career ended. The women's division obviously absolutely caught up to her. She pioneered a women's division that Dana White said he would never have in the UFC. She put women on the map in this sport, and this is why she is in our Mount Rushmore. Next, Conor McGregor. The viewership he brought to the UFC, the way it rejuvenated this organization, I'm not saying it was on a downward trend. I'm just saying the legend of Conor McGregor, you hear that name, people that don't even watch the UFC know who Conor McGregor is. He brought eyes to this sport that wouldn't have been here if he wasn't in this organization. Then we have Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, a lot of people say the resume is, he really went out on top and didn't fight some of the top dogs in the game. I say the way he brought Sambo into the UFC, and it is dominating in every weight class, is absolutely sickening. Khabib Nurmagomedov is at the top of the Mount Rushmore. And last but not least, you know we got to throw in the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only John Bones Jones. Now, I said this isn't a GOAT conversation, but the way this man has lasted through era after era after era in the UFC without losing fights is absolutely insane. John Jones is on the Mount Rushmore. Do I like what he does outside the octagon? Absolutely not. I'm not going to let that hinder what he does inside the octagon, though. This is my Mount Rushmore, ladies and gentlemen. Comment your 4 Mount Rushmore fighters down in the comments. Now, we got to talk about some organized violence in an octagon, starting with our first early prelim of the evening. We have Marion Santos taking on, and my camera was in the way, Muhammad Naimov. When I tell y'all we're going to put a counter down in the comments, some of y'all need to count how many of these names I mispronounced because it's going to be insane. Santos is on a 3-fight win streak. If you watch The Ultimate Fighter, you know how much of a dog he is. He has won by KO. He has won by decision. And you know if you watch The Ultimate Fighter, his ground game is absolutely insane. He's taking on Niamov, whatever it is, who's on a 2-fight win streak. We know he can go the distance. He has been submitted in his career. Going back to, I've seen Santos dominate some grown men on the ground. Give me Santos with the win. We're going to head on to our next fight where we have, Lord have mercy, Antonio Tricoli and Abdul Malik. Mansour Abdul Malik. Malik, is it Malik? Malik. Antonio Tricoli, 0-2 in the UFC, lost by KO, lost by submission. How is he still here? I honestly have no clue. Taking on an absolute demon. 2 mauling KO victories. Went the distance with a wrestler in his last fight. And Tricoli, absolutely no path to victory at this point. I'm going to keep it 100% real with you. Mansour Abdul Malik is an absolute dog. I don't know how Tricoli is still in the UFC. I'm rocking with MAM with the win. Next we have, and I'm trying to get these out of the way. We have Polish Power, and dear Lord, the first names are insane. I can't pronounce the second names. Iwo against Ebo. I promise these are their real names. I'm like making sure I have it on my phone right here too. These are their real names, ladies and gentlemen. The Polish Power Iwo Baranowski, 6-0 on the regional scene. This is his first fight in the UFC. 4 KOs, 2 submissions, 6 first-round finishes. This is Jan Blachowicz 2.0, ladies and gentlemen, as Jan Blachowicz will be on this card later and is potentially moving out of the UFC. Getting old with age. Can he age like fine wine? We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Taking on Ibo Island, 1-2 in the UFC, has shown that he has power, but is lackluster everywhere else. I'm rocking with the new Polish Power in the light heavyweight division. We head on over to a battle of absolute demons who have been there, seen that, done all of it. Edson Barboza and Jalen Turner. Edson Barboza have been mauling people since I was in middle school. I turned 30 in 2026. He's an absolute dog. 39 years old. Father time is real. I do want to throw that out there. He is 2-3 in his last 5. Taking on Jalen Turner, 30 years old, really just hitting his peak, hitting his pinnacle, getting his grown men strength. He is 6-6 in the UFC. He has fought absolute dogs his whole career. Moicano, Dan Hooker, Gamrot, Green, and that's just some of them to name. He's an absolute dog, but something in my heart and soul is telling me Edson Barboza, I don't know if this will be a retirement fight. I hope it's a retirement fight, getting up there in age. Edson Barboza is going to come out here and get a upset win over Jalen Turner. I'm just being honest with y'all. I'm rocking with Edson Barboza. Next, we have Marvin Vettori taking on Bruno Ferreira. Marvin Vettori on an absolute downward spiral, 1-4 in his last 5 on a 3-fight losing streak. All of those fights are by decision, by the way. Marvin Vettori has not looked the same since he fought Israel Adesanya in 2021. Now, Bruno Ferreira is 5-2 in his UFC career. Other than his KO over Gregory Rodriguez, this is his toughest fight to date. I'm rocking with Marvin Vettori to get back in the win column and get back in the good graces of the UFC. We have, and y'all remember how I said I can't pronounce names? We have Nazim and we have Faris Zaim. Both of these guys technically on a 5-fight win streak. Nazim does have a draw under his belt, so it's like 3 draw, 1, something like that. Oh, we're going to count it as 5-0. We're going to go ahead and go with it. He doesn't have none of these guys have a loss on their record. I'm rocking with Zaim with the victory. Next, we have Macy Barber taking on Karen Silva, 2 absolute dogs in this women's division. Barber is on a 6-fight win streak. She is one of the most well-rounded fighters in the women's division. She can strike with the best of them. She can wrestle with the best of them. Taking on Karen Silva, who is is it Katine or Karen? Anyways, she's taking on Silva, who is 5-1 in the UFC. 3 wins by victory, 2 wins by submission, and she has hands, ladies and gentlemen. 3 wins by sub, 2 by decision. She can go out there and box with the best of them. I'm going to be real. Macy Barber is coming out here and winning this fight, continuing the streak and looking for a belt run. We have Terrence McKinney taking on Chris Duncan. All I have written down for this fight is literally someone is getting absolutely flatlined. I'm rocking with Terrence McKinney with the win. Just absolute dog and absolute amazing story. Chris Duncan looks like he's absolutely locked in, though. We have Grant Dawson taking on Manuel Torres. Grant Dawson on a 3-0 heater, the most well-rounded, experienced fighter in this matchup. Manuel Torres, though, has absolute devastating power. 3 out of his 4 wins have been by knockout. 1 has been by submission. He did get knocked out by Baja Mendez. I'm not going to hold that against him. Baja Mendez, if y'all know who that is, has that power to go out there and knock anyone out in the division. I'm rocking Manuel Torres with the win. Next, we have Polish Power. Jan Blachowicz taking on Bogdan Guskov. Jan Blachowicz, Polish Power, last win was in 2022. He's had a pretty, there's my phone. He's had a pretty rough go of it. I'm going to keep it real with you. He lost a decision victory recently. And it's really, did he lose that fight? He's had a draw recently. It's it's kind of like the judges are not in Jan Blachowicz' favor, and he's fighting a guy in Bogdan Guskov, who is 33 years old, so it is really do or die time. He needs to get to the top of the division, start knocking people out, and start making a belt run. A KO win over Jan Blachowicz would absolutely skyrocket him to that point. He has 3 wins by knockout, 1 by sub. I think Guskov is going to come out here and make his statement, stamp his name at the top of the division in light heavyweight by beating an old, aging Jan Blachowicz. I do love Jan Blachowicz and all the great, amazing fights he's given us, but I think it is time to move over for some of these guys that are young, hungry, and wanting to get to the gold. We have Henry Cejudo and Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot, one of my favorite fighters currently in the UFC, but he's taking on a guy in Henry Cejudo. And I don't want to lie, Peyton Talbot does have his flaws. He's one of the younger fighters in the UFC. There's still time to get it together. I want to say he's 27. I could be wrong. Correct me down in the comments. Henry Cejudo has been on an absolute, it's hard to say tear. He's fought demon after demon after demon after demon. His last win came in 2020, but since then he fought champion Aljamain Sterling. He fought, who else did he fight? He fought champion, Lord, I forget. He's lost 3 of his last 3 fights. I'm just going to throw that out there. Last one was the Sonya Dog. Absolute legend of this game, Peyton Talbot, a 285 favorite, which is crazy to me. Being a 285 favorite against a guy like Henry Cejudo, he's still on a 3-fight win streak. But like I said, Cejudo's been in there with absolute legends of the game. Cejudo could come in here and absolutely maul Peyton Talbot, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think Cejudo's going to come in here. I think he's going to get him on the ground, and I think he's going to hold him there for 3 rounds. Is it going to be boring? Yes. Is it going to get Cejudo the win he's been looking for since 2020? Yes. I'm rocking Henry Cejudo with the win. We have Brandon Moreno and Tatsuro Tiara. This is a very interesting fight in the flyweight division. Brandon Moreno trying to stay at the top of the flyweight division. Tiara trying to get to the top of the flyweight division. I think he is coming off a win, but the thing these guys have in similar, Moreno has fought Brandon Royval, and I know we hate UFC math. I feel like flyweight's a little bit different, though. He has fought Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno has fought Brandon Royval. They've split. One was decision. One was a submission victory for Moreno. Tiara loses. I want to say loses a split decision to Brandon Royval. This is going to be a close fight. Something about Brandon Moreno's level of talent he's been in the octagon with makes me think he's going to be propelled to victory in this fight. I'm rocking Brandon Moreno with the win. Next, our co-main event of the evening, Alexandre Pantoja, one of the best flyweights to ever do it. I just want to say, legendary run at the flyweight division, best since we've seen Demetrius Johnson. The most well-rounded fighter, not even in flyweight, in the entire UFC, and he is a top 5 fighter currently in the UFC, taking on Joshua Van, who is a massive fan favorite. He's got the speed, he's got the power, he's got the cardio. Has he seen this level of talent in the octagon? Absolutely not. His biggest victory coming from Brandon Royval, who is still miles and miles worse than Alexandre Pantoja, and that is no rip on Brandon Royval, ladies and gentlemen. Pantoja is just that kind of fighter. I think that Pantoja is going to come out here, and the way you have to beat Pantoja, you have to dictate the pace of the fight. Van is not going to be able to dictate the pace of the fight against Pantoja. I'm going Alexandre Pantoja with the win. And next, our main event of the evening, we have Merab, the Machine, Davishvili taking on Peter Yan. Both of these gentlemen have shared the octagon before where a UFC record was set. Merab Davishvili shooting 49 takedowns. This is why he's the Machine. He just doesn't get tired. He only secured 11 of them, which is kind of crazy for Merab, and I think that speaks volumes for Peter Yan. But the way he's going to go out here and beat Peter Yan again, he's going to shoot all those takedowns. Yan can defend them, but what it's not going to let Yan do is go out there and establish his ground. It's not going to let him establish an offense. I think Yan could go out here and beat Merab on the feet. But what Merab is going to do is not going to let that happen. He's going to take him down over and over and over and over again. And Yan, with the good cardio he has, if you can't establish an offense, You can't win a fight. I have Merab Davishvili completing the 4-0 streak of 2025 of defending his title. That's absolute insanity, especially with 2 out of those 3 fights going the distance. Will this one go the distance? We will find out on Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, those are our picks, predictions, and upsets for UFC 323. If you think I got one wrong, if you think I got them all right, if you have a different decision, let me know down in the comments. Don't forget, like and follow.